Hey, if you love cruising or you're cruise curious, you're in the right place. This is Huddle Adventures. I am Eddie, and today I want to talk to you about a little bit of controversy that has developed over the last week and a half. I've waited a little while to see how this thing plays out. I try to stay out of it. I try to limit my exposure to the things that happen or are being said and done, and I have not actively participated in any of it. Trust me, it's nothing illegal. You're going, what is this guy talking about? What's he talking about? I'm talking about John Held's posts last week. Who is John Held? Well, John Held is the Carnival Cruise Line brand ambassador. What a long title. I think you had to flip his business card over to get the second part of that. He's a great guy in our opinion. We've dealt with him, met him, been around him several times. Really funny guy, great guy. Who is he? Well, how did he get there? He was a cruise director, and he was a very popular cruise director for Carnival in the 90s. And at some point, he started a blog with a B, guys. Some of you guys are going, what is a blog? And that's like an online magazine for you young cruisers out there that might not be familiar with that. And he got really popular, a lot of exposure from that blog. And Carnival's like, we love your blog, John. And they endorsed it wholeheartedly. Well, eventually, due to technology, social media comes along, and he parlayed that into a massive Facebook following and an Instagram following, where basically his daily blog is now his daily posts on Facebook. And anyone can follow John Held. And his style is he likes to share funny comments, share funny experiences from his past as a cruise director, share over-the-top Karen-esque type complaints. But ultimately, he likes to ask questions and get the input from cruisers so that Carnival Cruise Line can make good decisions on, how they're operating. So he'll ask, what's your opinion about the buffet? What's your opinion about special dining? What's your opinion about formal night? And I've seen him do the same topics over and over again over the last 4 years. I actually stopped going there on a daily basis because of all the negative people that chime in every time he posts something. Like they had a bad experience with an outside vendor and for an excursion on their last cruise. And so they're complaining that Carnival should fix that. Stuff like that. Their complaints have nothing to do with him or Carnival half the time. It's just, they're just angry about something. And angry people love to just go out and wave their fists at the sky and just let everybody know, I'm angry. Do you understand? I'm angry. Because they think they're special because they're angry. I taught my kids, people respect calm people. Ain't nobody ever said, oh, you're so angry that person got? No, they really made an ass of themselves. That's impressive. No one does that. No one does that. So anyways, guys, the angry people, the trolls that don't have nothing to do with cruising at all, but just like to go in and stir up the muck because they don't have anything going on in their life, those people tend to get in there a lot. And so I try to stay positive, so I stay away from that stuff. So apparently what had happened is last week, Carnival unveiled Celebration Key. This is Carnival's answer to Perfect Day at Coco Cay. See, I was mixing up my keys and my K's. It's Celebration Key and Coco Cay. Coco Cay, Perfect Day at Coco Cay is Royal Caribbean's private island. Celebration Key is Carnival's private resort. Okay, it's not an island. It's in the Grand Bahamas, but it's their private resort. Spent millions of dollars on this thing. Very beautiful. I watched all the videos, the tours. Excited to go there. We won't get to go there to next fall, but I really wasn't watching any of the content that closely. I'll be honest with you. I tend to watch more guitar and video camera content on YouTube than I do cruise content. Laura is our cruise content connoisseur. She watches everybody's content. So apparently what happened was one of these cruise vloggers booked a cabana at Celebration K, and she also did a post about how much she spent on everything, and the cabana was like $740. I don't believe she complained about anything per se, so I can't make any comment about that. But she decided to do a live stream from there, which is a testament of how good the Wi-Fi works, which is great. I'm excited about that. But she did a real long live stream, from what I understand, And during the live stream, she was answering a lot of negative Nellies and negative Neds chiming in, because that's who eats up the majority of the space out there in social media. There's people complaining, waving their fists at the sky, get off my lawn, those people. And she was addressing their concerns. And somehow it got back to John Held, apparently, and he felt it was time to address the relevancy of cruise content creators. Does his followers rely on the input, reviews, vlogs, content from cruise content creators to make their cruise decision? I'm going to show you his posts. I'm going to do it quickly. Pause so you can read it. Or if you already read it, just keep going. It's right there. Okay, I'm coming back at you. All right. So I'm not getting into all of it. You can read it for yourself. But ultimately, he called it cruise influencers, or cruise influences. I think he called it influences instead of influencers. But I get the point. He's British, you know. Anyways, I took exception to that phrase, okay? But before I get into all that, the comment section, I made a mistake of reading the comments. And I'm not going to post the comments. You can go visit if you want. You know, I don't want to promote it. So anyways, a common theme was these cruise influencers, I don't trust them because they're going on free cruises. They don't pay for anything. They're on the payroll for the cruise lines. That's why they defend the cruise lines. That's why they're doing this, that, the other thing. Need to tie an anchor to their legs, all cruise influencers, and dumped in the ocean. Now, the cruise industry, the cruise world, the cruise universe on social media is minuscule, guys. It is a niche market. Very, very, very small. No one is going to get rich solely creating content on social media about cruising. Now, you might make a good living at it, you know, a good middle class, upper middle class income on it if you're really good, if you have partnerships, if you know, are selling products, if you're also a travel agent and your channel is promoting your travel agent's business, you can make a living doing it. And you can make a career out of it. But are you going to be rich? Are you going to be like a true influencer? Are you going to get a Bugatti? Are you going to be riding around in a private jet, you know, going to Ibiza? No, you're not. Okay. In my mind, and in Google's mind, when you do the definition of what a vlogger is versus an influencer, majority of cruise content creators, probably 99% of them are going to be considered vloggers, okay? Vloggers create content because they are sharing information or they're doing it to entertain you. That's what vloggers are motivated by. Influencers are creating a following to sell you products or promote products. That's what they're there for. They are there that's a career. They're all about the brand. They're all about their image. They're all about creating partnerships. They're all about all of that corporate speak. That's what they're all about, guys. And I'm not knocking them. More power to you. More power to you. But there's little kids, 8-year-olds playing, you know, Minecraft on YouTube with, you know, 10 million plus subscribers. And the biggest cruise channels in the world might have just over 1 million. And there's only maybe 2 of them. And then there's a handful that have over 500,000 subscribers. And there's a handful that have over 250,000 subscribers. And the mass majority of them have well under 20,000 subscribers, okay? It's a really small, oversaturated market. Why is it oversaturated? The pandemic, guys. What happened was cruising got shut down for 16 months during the COVID-19 pandemic. And when that happened, all of us that love cruising were stuck at home, couldn't go anywhere, and we're watching cruise content on YouTube, Instagram, whatever social media of your liking. This is when TikTok took off, but cruising wasn't even big on TikTok at that moment. So we're all watching it thinking, hey, when cruising reopens, maybe I'll become a content creator. That's kind of how it happened with us. We were encouraged by our adult children. Laura and I had been married 8 years. So at the time of the pandemic, we'd only been together a few years. And getting married later in life, we're all about that YOLO lifestyle. You only live once. And we're trying to create as many memories as we can with each other. And we thought that it was great because we could share our memories with our kids. Back when we were kids, we're Gen Xers in the 80s, our parents ran around with camcorders, recording you at the most inappropriate times and shaking, moving around. Your dad's taking videos and grandpa and uncle of the floor and the ceiling. You know what I'm talking about. And then they put those treasures, those tapes, in a cardboard box and throw them in a closet somewhere, and they end up covered in dust. And then when a relative or somebody died or got sick, you'd pull them out and look at, Christmas memories from, 1981 or whatever. Well, we don't do that anymore. That's not a thing. So now everybody saves content on their phone. They do videos and stuff. And I used to share my videos, shorts. I was making shorts before it was a thing. And I would send them to our adult kids. Like, hey, here we are in Vegas. Here we are in, Broadway and Tennessee and Nashville. Look at me. I'm drinking again. That kind of stuff. And they thought it was funny and, everything. And it was like, Dad, you should put that kind of content on your channel. And next thing you know, they came up with a name for our channel. We had a channel. Okay. So we started cruising almost immediately when it reopened and have done 25 cruises since then. And I fell in love with vlogging. I love vlogging because I love promoting cruising. We don't work in the travel industry. We're never going to make any money on social media. That's not the goal. I've been in the same industry for 30 plus years. I'm in the skilled trades. I work 7 days a week when I'm not on a cruise ship. I get upwards of 8 weeks of vacation a year. Laura is a travel nurse recruiter. She works remote. She can work anywhere. She can get a Wi-Fi signal to the internet. So we can cruise as much as we can afford in as much time as I get off. So we do as much as we can. That's why I work all that overtime, to pay for all the cruising. So why do I want to promote cruising? I want to promote cruising because cruising takes a bad rap. Cruising gets beat up by just negative stereotypes constantly. It was like that before I went on my first cruise. I thought about going, wow, I remember 2013 Carnival Triumph. Does it ring a bell? I remember seeing that on CNN when that poor ship was stuck out there just floating because it lost all of its power. This is AKA the poop cruise. I didn't get into that on my channel, but I love history and researching things. And we were on the Carnival Spirit back in 2021. And I researched the ship and found out it was previously the Triumph and all that stuff. And I realized I remember watching that on CNN. And thinking, man, I'll never go on a cruise. That's crazy. I don't want to get stuck out there. I didn't think about getting caught in hurricanes and getting the norovirus. I bought into all that, okay? So when I did my first cruise, I'm like, it's not like that. It's not like that. Cruising is awesome. I love cruising. So I get off my first cruise, go to work, tell all my buddies and my relatives, you got to go on a cruise. It's awesome. They're like, no, man, I'm not going to get stuck on a ship. I don't want to get norovirus. I don't want to be, stuck eating buffet food all week. I'll be bored, all that kind of stuff. I'll get seasick. Yeah. And I was like, wow, man, this is something you want to share with people. You want to go on cruises with your friends. It's like, it's so much fun. It's like, let's go have fun together, right? So I thought this is a good way to promote cruising and battle those negative stereotypes. Now, John Held, referring to cruise content creators as influencers when they're not influencers, bothers me. Because I don't like influencers, guys. I admit it. I have a bias against anyone that's trying to use drama to sell you nonsense. I don't have no time for that. So I just go, all right, whatever, I don't get involved with any of that stuff. These guys doing these, giving $500 to a homeless guy because he answered a question right, and God bless you, brother, and just doing all that kind of stuff just to get that fame and, make that money. You do you, okay? I'm not about that life. And 99% of cruise content creators aren't that either, okay? Most of the cruise content creators you watch, either the husband or wife or both spouses, if, we're talking about a gay couple, are travel agents. they have a travel agency business or they work for a travel agency and they use their content creation to promote their travel agent business, and which makes perfectly good sense. Then you have people like us, we love to share our love of cruising. We like to make new friends through our content. We hope that our content helps new cruisers make good decisions. We always say you can learn from our mistakes. We make the expensive mistakes so you don't have to. That's one of our slogans from back when we started. And gosh, have we? Have we made some big mistakes? Yes, we have. And so that's our goal. So just keep that in mind. All those negative comments, I was really offended by all the people talking bad about cruise vloggers, and we're all bad and we all have those ulterior motives and we're all getting rich. My God, it's so silly. It's laughable. You know, I play guitar. See the guitars hanging on the wall? I've got nearly 20 of those guitars all over the house. I've been playing guitar for 40 years. If I wanted to make money on social media, I could make a guitar-related channel and have way more subscribers because it's a huge market compared to cruising. If that was my goal. That's not my goal. I play guitar for fun. I love playing guitar. I don't want to turn my love into guitar into a job where I'm making money and I have to make, every time I touch a guitar, to make content. It takes the fun out of it for me. But I'm not on a cruise all the time, but I play guitar every day. Do you get what I'm saying? I go on 6 to 8 cruises a year. So in between cruises, doing this helps scratch my cruise itch. And like I said, hopefully it's helping people. So with that said, guys, I just ask, keep an open mind, pay attention to the people you're following. If they're constantly, Debbie Downer or, cruise content creators that are feeding into the myths, like there's a bunch out there that love piling on Carnival. And these same cruise content creators, if you go to their channel, scroll way back in their time machine to the beginning of their channel, go to their oldest content, and I'll guarantee you the majority of them started on Carnival. And they love Carnival. We're on Carnival, we love it. And now they make a living dogging Carnival. Or they're trying to make a living. That's a better way of describing it. So with that said, sorry for the long TED Talk. We love you. Stay tuned, and I will talk to you soon.